Everything comes and goes, marked by lovers and styles of clothes. Things that you held high and told yourself were true, lost or changing as the days come down to you.
Bossa Nova is something that I grew up listening to. My parents are Brazilian and were a big part of the movement in São Paulo. A lot of the musicians were traveling between São Paulo and Rio and playing, and both my folks moved to São Paulo. My dad was on the very first recording of Chega de Saudade. It was the great Elisete Cardoso, and on the coro, on the choir, was my dad, João Gilberto, and Tom Jobim.
Here is your crown and your seal and rings. Here is your love for all things.
It's the music that I grew up listening to. That's the language of my life, really. It feels like the most natural rhythm to me. I think it's impossible to think of Brazil without Bossa Nova. It has influenced everybody. It's not just a rhythm, it's an aesthetic, it's a sensibility, and it's a sense of harmony and the way the progressions evolved. There's a certain Brazilian purity to it because it comes from samba. It comes from the most pure and earthy and communal thing we have in Brazil. For me, it was just in the household. We grew up, sons and daughters of Bossa Nova composers. The new Bossa Nova is actually paying a great deal of homage to it.
Here is your wine, and you're drunk and fall. Here is your love for it all.
I think one of the great things about growing up in Brazil is that we have no limit in Brazil. There are no walls to anything. Everything is so permissible. Everything is just it's so chaotic. The way we were colonized, the way we define ourselves as a country. I mean, we're constantly eating things, absorbing things, putting them out in some different way, recycling. Everybody gets up in the morning, you have no idea what's going to happen to your day. You have no idea if the bank's going to be open, if the bus is going to be, if the road is going to be there, if there's going to be a civil war or not. It's really a country of improvisers that way. When I think of Bossa Nova, I always think it's very reflective. So it's the image that I have, and I think every Brazilian has, is somebody sitting in Rio on some rock, looking at the ocean, and things are happening way in a distance. You're able to reflect and think and look at it from different points of view. There's a great deal of melancholy in Bossa Nova. 90% of the record is covers that I'm doing, and looking at it through this Bossa Nova, so the new Bossa Nova through these songs. We thought of a project that would combine all of the things that I had been doing in the past, which is my focus on poetry and my interest in jazz. And it became such a natural thing to go into sort of this homage to Bossa Nova and trying to bring a new light into songs that I had either known for a long time or had admired the songwriters. When Larry Klein, the producer, and I were putting the songs together, we both decided on a list of songwriters that we wanted to bring together. And it was sort of really natural for the both of us. I mean, Joni Mitchell was inevitable, and James Taylor was somebody that I grew up listening to in Brazil. He's huge in Brazil.
And we who couldn't bear to believe they might make it, we had to close our eyes, to cut up the losses into doable doses, ration our tears and sighs.
You could see them on the street on a Saturday night. Everyone used to run them down. They're a little too sweet, a little too tight, not enough tough for this tough town.
We couldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. No, it didn't seem to rattle at all. They were fused together, body and soul, and that much more with their backs against the wall.
So what we did is go back to that sort of minimalist aesthetic and also acoustic. The record is completely acoustic. Larry and I were in agreement that it would be really nice for me to bridge my previous projects with this new one by using musicians that I was very comfortable with, and they also had to be very well versed in Brazilian music and Brazilian rhythms. So we chose people who could play in that very understated way, really sweetly, really beautifully, but with that jazz awareness also, because it is a jazz record, but it's also many other things.
But I was tossed high by love, almost never came down, only to land here.
What turns out to be really beautiful is that all the songs speak of the same theme in a way, all these different manifestations of love and how it presents itself in different moments of your life or stages of one's life. I would say that love is the central thread that runs through it, absolutely. I think it's impossible for a singer not to sing about love, as it is impossible for a poet not to write about love.
A stick, a stone, it's the end of the road. The rest of a stump, a little alone. A sliver of glass, it is life, the sun. It is night, it is death, it's a trap, it's a gun. The oak when it blooms, the fox in the brush, a knot in the wood, the song of a thrush.